Good afternoon, everyone. Happy Monday. So happy that you all are here with us today to participate in the Tools for Transfer, Streamlining Your Transfer Admissions Process. So this is sponsored by StriveScan as well as VACRAO, which is the Virginia Association for Collegiate Registrars and Admissions Officers. So just a few things. In order to ask questions, we are going to have you utilize the Q&A feature, and that will let our panelists know that you have a great question, and I'm sure you can access that at any point in the webinar, but at the end is when they'll directly answer those questions as well. Your camera and microphone is off, so we're not able to see your beautiful faces or hear you, so definitely make sure you're always utilizing that Q&A feature. And we do encourage you to sign up for more sessions. There are a few more happening today, right after this session, as well as later within the week. So definitely make sure you go to www.strivescan.com/Virginia, and that'll pull up all of those options for you. This recording will be available about a week from today. So if you're writing down notes and trying to gain everything, just be forewarned that you will be able to access it a little bit later. So no need to rush through taking good notes, because again, you'll be able to access the recording later. So I'm going to turn it over to our panelists now. Thanks again so much for joining us, and enjoy the session.
All right, everyone, thanks again for joining us. This is going to be giving you some tips on transfer and streamlining your admissions process. So we're going to go over some brief introductions of who all is included in this panel. Next slide, Tanisha. You're muted, Tanisha.
Sorry about that. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tanisha Miles. I am a program specialist here with Excelsior College. We're based out of Albany, New York, but I actually cover what we consider the DMV area. So that's going to be Washington, D.C., Virginia, and Maryland.
Hello, my name is Victoria Herrick. I'm the Transfer Admissions Counselor with Old Dominion University, and we are located in Norfolk, Virginia.
Good afternoon. I'm Mary Bolt, Director of Transfers at Emory and Henry College in Southwest Virginia.
Hello, everyone. So my name is Lily Fowler, and I'm an admissions counselor for East Tennessee State University, and we're located in Johnson City, Tennessee.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Johanna Fitzwater. I'm a transfer admissions coordinator for the University of North Carolina, Wilmington. We are the state of North Carolina's only coastal university.
So I will go ahead and get us jump started. I don't know if anyone is like me, but I have a tendency to procrastinate. So what I want to talk to you all about today is just making sure that you're not like me procrastinating with things, and you're staying up on top of what needs to be taken care of. So with your admissions process, just be mindful that each school that you select is going to have a different process, and there's going to be a different start date. So you want to make sure that you have all those dates in mind, that you're getting your application submitted in time and all your required documents, which goes into the deadlines, making sure that you don't wait till that 5th hour to write that paper or to turn in that application, because now you've decided that you want to continue on with school. Once you get your application going and you're meeting with your advisors and you're kind of making your decisions, you also want to think about your courses that you want to transfer. If you have previous coursework, you'll be able to get those submitted to your advisor that you're working with, and he or she will be able to help facilitate and explain to you where those classes may potentially apply towards your degree program. Speaking of degree, you want to keep that goal in mind. Again, if you're like me, I think I changed my major about 3 different times before I settled on one, and that's totally okay. But you at least want to have some type of idea of what you want to major in. That way, the advisor that you're working with, he or she again will be able to give you kind of more accurate picture of what credits you'll be able to bring into the college of your choice. And your advisor check-in. Again, each school is going to be different. Some schools will require that you meet with your advisor before you apply. I'm sorry, not before you apply, but before you register and enroll in courses. So you want to make sure that you're checking in with your advisor, on at least on a quarterly or semester basis. You want to make sure that you're getting with your advisor to make sure you're staying on track and not taking additional coursework that you may not necessarily need. And that again will take up some of your financial aid funds. So key points deadlines, deadlines, deadlines. Keep those in mind, and make sure you're keeping in contact with your advisor as much as you can. And now I will turn it over to Victoria.
Thank you, Tanisha. So another great way to plan ahead is to make yourself aware of the transfer tools that are available to you at the universities that you're interested in. So most institutions will have a transfer partners or some sort of transfer page for you to reference. And I'm going to pull up our page from ODU first, which is just going to show you some of the resources that may be available at the school that you're interested in. So on this page, if you scroll down a little, you'll see that this page has a lot of different information for you. So we have information about the transfer process for students who are transferring from in-state community college to our institution, students who are transferring from an out-of-state community college to our institution. Maybe you're transferring from a four-year institution. So it gives you the differences of transfer, what to expect. We also have information about pursuing degrees online here, as well as different nuances for students depending on your student type, such as if you're a military affiliated student or an international student. There's also different tools listed on this page, which is very common across the board with most colleges. There's transfer tools available to you. Specifically here, we have tools to see how credits will transfer and do a degree audit, and also connect with our transfer center. Beyond that, there's also at the bottom of this page a facts section. So you can look at what are some of the most frequently asked questions transfer students have. And that usually will help you get a good sense of what information you need making your own decisions. We are also going to show you a page from the community college side so you can see what it may look like on your end as a transfer student. So this example is from Nova Community College in Northern Virginia. So you can see on their page that they have information about transfer, articulation agreement, transfer pathways, ways to connect with four-year schools like ourselves. So a lot of times there's information about attending something like VACRAO or attending maybe a virtual information session with one of our schools. They also have information about guaranteed admission agreements and schools that participate with that, and then transfer grants. They also do have a fact page as well. So just making sure you acquaint yourself with the resources at each institution on their website to see what tools are available to you, whether that be on the four-year institution's website or at your college's website. There's typically tools available. Beyond that, we do also have different tools for students. So most schools will have a transfer center. The transfer center most times will do stuff like pre-advising, go over articulation agreements for you. They'll also go over kind of frequently asked questions you might have and resources available to you, and also a great way to connect with your peers. So different transfer peers that are coming in and potentially connecting with a transfer mentor. Again, certain schools have articulation agreements and guaranteed admission. So always speaking with a representative like any of us on this panel about those options for you. And then if you are interested in doing a little work on your own, there are typically tools. Not everyone wants to connect with someone for pre-advising right away. So you can always use tools such as degree audit tools or curriculum sheets that are available on the websites. And these are a great way for you as a student before you actually start attending the university, or even maybe put in that first inquiry to see how your credits are potentially going to be accepted. But if you would like that additional assistance, always reach out to the transfer centers or the transfer contact on those partner pages that I mentioned. And then we can assist with unofficial evaluations and getting you a little bit more acquainted with how you're going to have that transfer pathway to our specific institutions. And now I'm going to turn it over to the next presenter. Mary, I think you're muted.
I'm sorry, hate to waste time like that. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the financial aid and the scholarships. One of the main things, I chose this picture because I don't know if it was on purpose or not, but the little Scrabble board shows money and no. And that's the main thing you can do is know from the very beginning how you're going to proceed with the financial aid. The main form that we talk about deadlines, but the number one deadline to worry about is on the form, the FAFSA form, and that's a free application for federal student aid. And it allows you to be considered for financial aid as well as institutional aid, scholarships, and grants. That deadline, you can, if you're going to access the FAFSA, the best thing to do is FAFSA.gov. Make sure you're going to a government site, because there are some businesses out there who will say they'll help you with your financial aid and your FAFSA, but they charge a fee. So as long as you're on a .gov site, you should be okay. The deadline for the academic year 2021 is June 30th, 2021 at 11:59 p.m. Then you can make, for that academic year as well, you can make corrections by September 11th, 2021 by 11:59 p.m. And it is important, again, to fill out that application, because I hear a lot of students saying, I don't think that I'm going to receive financial aid, but some of the institutions and require that you fill that out for any kind of merit or other kind of internal awards that they might give you. Again, you always go straight to the financial aid page in your college that you're choosing, and that way you can see any kind of special things they require. Sometimes within these deadlines, they will require additional documentation, but it never ever hurts to fill out the FAFSA and know right from the start everything that you're available for. There are scholarships. The 2+2 is basically a transfer scholarship, which means extra at the end of your community college or first 2 years, there's funds available, which is actually called the transfer scholarship or 2+2. Some of them give you an extra amount for coming from a specific community college. So you definitely want to check those out. The 3+1, an example would be nursing, where you take the majority of your courses at one institution and then you transfer for the final year for the specialty. Another example of that would be engineering. Other financial resources are, you should know about work study and tuition and reimbursement within the college that you're applying from, but there are also scholarships available that your colleges might not know about. One good source is to check high schools, because high school websites often have a lot of information about scholarships that the colleges might not know about. And again, just any question that you have, start out with the financial aid office so that there's no surprises. And I'm going to pass it on. Thank you.
And I'm back, everyone, to talk with you all about the process for military and veteran students. I'm actually a veteran student using my benefits myself, and so I will kind of foot stomp if I can. Make sure that you're working with your VA rep that's at your particular school of choice. That's going to be extremely important, because he or she, again, will be able to help streamline that process for you, assist you with the application process. I know on the Army side, they use a different portal system, and so they may have a different way of having to submit their applications, as well as all the other branches. So you want to make sure that you're meeting and speaking directly with your VA rep at that particular school of choice, so that he or she can make sure that you're submitting your application on time, that you're applying for the correct VA benefits. You're going to have your Chapter 30, you're going to have your Post 9/11, which is a Chapter 33. That particular benefit will provide you with a monthly BAH stipend, as well as a one-time book stipend for every semester that you're going to classes. And then there's also tuition assistance, and some bases have additional personal military scholarships. So you just want to make sure that you're meeting with the rep, that you're also speaking with the base education coordinator on your particular base if you're near one. That way everyone kind of knows what's going on. Other resources, again, like Mary was speaking about, there's different types of scholarships that you all can apply for. So don't limit yourself. Visit your local military base, visit the school of choice that you're looking at, because all those schools, like all of us here, will have different scholarship options, especially when it pertains to military and veteran students. And now I will turn it over again.
All right, hello everyone. So again, my name is Lily and I'm an admissions counselor for East Tennessee State University. What I'm going to be talking about today is why you should and how you can get involved on campus. So I realize that transfer students often think that it's a little too late for you all to get involved on campus, but I can't stress enough that it is never too late. And so I came up with 3 benefits as to why you should get involved on campus. And it actually came from like my own experience of getting involved. So next slide, please. So the first benefit to getting involved on campus is that it's a time where you can learn and grow as an individual. So you may be like a president, a vice president, the secretary, or you're just a part of a team. But you're going to be learning how to maintain good relationships with other students, faculty, alumni, and you may be put into a leadership role that might be outside of your comfort zone. And you also may be a part of a club or organization that can help you prepare for your future career. Sometimes these clubs will invite local community leaders that take you on, or they'll take you on a field trip. And this will allow you to learn more about what you might be interested in as a career. I can only speak on my institution, but just an example would be that we have a criminal justice society, and we invite the FBI, the local PD, the CIA, and they even go on field trips to tour facilities like a body farm and things like that. But you're able to kind of see firsthand, oh, if I'm getting into this program, then this is what, my future careers will look like. Next slide, please. So another benefit is that you're going to be serving. So a lot of times they're going to be encouraging you to do some sort of service work. Not really talking about wearing like an orange vest and directing traffic. However, if that is something that you want to do for the local community, then I do say go for it. What I'm talking about more or less is just serving your local community by fundraising for a local shelter or for your school to get a water park. You can even join organizations that are founded on philanthropies that they support every year. And then serving others is definitely good for your heart, but it can also help you grow your network. And growing your network is very valuable, especially for students who are interested in the organizations they are serving. Networking can help you develop professional and social contacts that can lead you to a job after you graduate. Next slide. All right, and so the last benefit, and this is the reason why we all get involved, and that is the experience you gain. So typically, if you're getting involved on campus, whether that's through a club or organization, campus activities, being an ambassador, you're going to be in groups of probably 10 or more students who have already joined. And at that time, you don't really realize, but these students who are part of the same group as you are probably going to become your lifelong friends by just showing that one interest you all have in common, or just sharing that one interest. And then you're not going to only make lifelong friends, but you're going to be able to make relationships with the alumni of your school that will also help you expand your network further. Networking is really important. I can't stress that enough either. But joining clubs and organizations or getting involved on campus in some sort of way is meant to be fun. which is why a lot of the times they're going to end up doing some kind of end of the year banquet or celebration or something along those lines to just show everyone, express and appreciate everyone's hard work within the club. And then by the time you graduate, you're going to be able to incorporate the experience that you gain from joining on your resume and within your professional career. Next slide. And then just to summarize, so if you are getting involved on campus, you're going to be able to benefit from learning and serving. You're going to gain the experience. And then I did already mention these options, but just to recap, you can join student clubs or organizations. You can give campus tours by being a student ambassador. You can just do campus activities like sporting events and back to school bashes and things like that. But there's so many great opportunities for you all. It's never too late, and I really encourage you all to get involved when you transfer. But now I'm going to pass it over to Johanna to talk about the last tool for you all.
Thank you so much, Lily. So the last topic that we want to discuss is making sure that your university transfer search includes your personal goals and your preferences. So essentially creating a transfer path that is tailored specifically to you. One of the biggest reasons that I have seen students transferring from one four-year institution to another has a lot to do with the school size. Either the school was too big or it was too small. So many students that are transferring to a university transfer based solely on the school's reputation. However, many of those students are also used to smaller class sizes, whether those small class sizes be in high school or at the community college, and sometimes find themselves overwhelmed in those larger lecture halls. So having a lack of connection with the faculty. So one important aspect of finding the right fit can be found by looking at the average class size of the universities that are your top choices and the student to faculty ratios at those specific universities. So if building relationships in the classroom is important to you, you may find that seeking schools that have average class sizes below 25 to 30 students would be right for you, and lower student to faculty ratios as well. The next one is a big factor is if you want to do your degree fully online, or if you want to do a hybrid of online and in-person classes, or if you're really seeking to transfer to a university that has the traditional method of fully on-campus courses. Many traditional universities are offering higher numbers of fully online degree programs, but they're still allowing students to enjoy and take advantage of all the same resources as their main campus peers. However, it's important to keep in mind that many of the traditional universities are still very limited in their online offerings. And those traditional university course schedules are generally limited to working hours. So researching course availability is a great way to know for sure if a university is going to be right for you and right for your schedule if you are a transfer student that is working full-time or part-time while you're completing your degree. I want to just highlight career centers as kind of a one-stop shop for researching institution internship connections, also job placement statistics, and a way to find more information on various sectors of the workforce. Because universities are hosting so many of these virtual events at this time, this is really a great opportunity to sign up for some career center information sessions at your top university choices. What you can do is learn about the various tools and advising that's available through these career centers. And many of the university career centers will have published rates on their internship placements, as well as companies that they have direct partnerships for internships. It's really important for transfer students to seek out some information on the percentage of graduates that are going directly into the workforce full-time upon graduation. And generally those statistics, again, can be found on the admission pages and the career center pages of your universities. I wanted to just talk briefly about study abroad because we are seeing such a rise in transfer students that are taking advantage of study abroad. Not only is this a really exciting experience for students, but it's also an exceptional way for you to develop the critical thinking skills and other soft skills that will make you competitive during your job search. So if you're a student that places an importance on opportunities like study abroad, you can never start too early in researching different global opportunities at your chosen institutions. Maybe you realistically can't study abroad for a full semester. You may be surprised to find how many different universities are offering durations of time for study abroad that are maybe 10 days to 2 weeks. Also, so many universities now are offering grants and scholarships that are just specific to help students to afford a study abroad within their undergraduate career. So if that is at the top of your list, you can reach out to the international programs at your top choice universities and inquire about any scholarships or grants that are available, links of study for the programs, and if there are any specific programs that would benefit you in your chosen major. The last point that I want to make is about housing, culture, and community at universities. This is a really important one because in regards to transfer students, universities can have extremely different policies on housing. For instance, some universities actually require that their transfer students live on campus, while other universities don't offer on-campus housing for transfer students. So it is really important to understand what the policies of housing is for your specific institutions and for your specific needs. You may be a transfer student that really wants to be guaranteed that full university experience and be able to live on campus for those last 2 years of your bachelor's degree. I hope that just touching on a few of these points briefly will help you just think about the full experience that you want, from academics and faculty connections to student to faculty ratios and class sizes, as well as where you want to live and what types of things that you want to include in your undergraduate career. And I think we can go right into the questions at this point.
All right, so we did have one question from the chat that I wanted to bring up before we go into our general fact page. So we had someone ask about joining sororities and fraternities and how you would go about that as a transfer student. So Lily, since you were doing campus involvement, I don't know if you would like to speak to that first.
I can do it. All right. So thank you so much for your question. So I was actually a part of like a sorority when I was at ETSU, but pretty much how you can go about it when you're thinking about transferring, just most of the time you can just go onto like the main landing page of where you're thinking about transferring to, type in organizations, student organizations and clubs. It's going to pull up a list of ways you can get involved. And then you'll probably see where it says, Greek life or sororities and fraternity, things like that. And you'll just click on it. I can speak on like ETSU's process. I know that you do have to like sign up. And normally it's a 3-day event. Some schools it's a week event. So it really just depends. But yeah, just use the main landing page, type in just sororities or student organizations. And then you'll be able to see how you can sign up. And I can speak on my behalf as well, is that from being in a sorority, we did have tons of students who are transferring that did get involved. And it is a really great experience. So definitely encourage it.
Thank you, Lily. I just also wanted to kind of echo what Lily was saying about getting involved and reaching out to either the involvement page for the school that you're interested in or the Greek life page. I also wanted to mention with ODU specifically, we do not require you to live on campus to be involved in fraternities or sororities, which I think is important to note. Every school is different with their policies, as we've mentioned, and look into your specific school. But a lot of times with certain schools, you can participate as a commuter student. So don't think just because you're not living on campus that you can't participate, because a lot of times that you can still be involved.
If we don't have any other questions in the chat right now, I'll just jump into some of the frequently asked questions.
Sorry, Johanna, we did have one other one that just came in that I just want to make sure we get to. Are there student activities for adult student populations? So I don't know if anyone wants to go first, or I can answer this one first. Okay. So really it's going to vary by institution, as we've been mentioning with a lot of stuff. I know specifically for my institution with ODU, we have a very large adult student population, non-traditional students, and military student population just based on our location because we're very close to a naval base. So there are a lot of activities that are catered to people who are working, people who potentially have families. And I believe most of our institutions are like this, where we do try to cater to every type of student that we have on campus. Now, if you're talking normal activities during the day, I know for our school, our activity hour is typically between 12 and 1. So a lot of events do go on during that time that for a working student may not work for you. But once you get involved with certain organizations and clubs, those are done at various times. We have events in the evening. For example, we're having like a socially distanced movie night in our stadium where people are very spaced out and able to get involved with that. We have fundraisers and different things that go on over the weekend. So for people who maybe are not available during the week, but do have availability on the weekend, we try to also have things offered then for our students. And I'll let some of my fellow panelists talk a little bit more about their involvement for adult students as well.
I can go. We're 100% online at Excelsior College. So all of our activities are going to be virtually or be done via email. What we do have are called student ambassadors, and they're just kind of representatives for the school as a student. And then you give your experience as far as, how the process went for you for enrollment, how your classes are going, how that online component is working for you or not working, and then giving recommendations. And then lately we've been trying to do a lot of videos. So you'll probably be asked to like do a little mini video, and then we'll put that out on our Instagram and Facebook page.
And we're the same. We try to adjust to all of our students and find interest for everyone. But one thing that I think has been interesting is some of my students who are non-traditional adults have a little bit of fear that they won't be able to fit into some of these activities and find themselves right there in the middle. And I think especially during these times, a lot of our activities are online, virtual hangouts, but definitely trying to have enough activities that you can find what's comfortable for you.
I'll jump in as well. So we have about 280 different clubs and organizations at the University of North Carolina, Wilmington, and 49% of our incoming students are transfer students with an average age of 25. So many of our clubs and organizations aren't specific to non-traditional students, but we do have transfer specific clubs and organizations as well. Because we're on the beach, a lot of them are just based around water sports, but there is something for everyone. And really with the clubs and organizations, the way that it works is we just need 3 students if they want to start a new organization, in case the 280 were not enough.
And ETSU is just like the rest of the institutions. So we have 250 different student organizations. We also have the option for our students to create their own club. So say if we don't have something, then you feel free to make it. You can be the president and that'll look good on your resume. So, but really just, there's tons of opportunities for you to get involved. And one way, like I mentioned, was just going to, like, if the school that you go to has some type of sporting events, like that's just one way you can show your school spirit. You can participate, and it's really fun. So.
All right, Joanna, we don't have any other questions in the chat this time. So if we want to start going over some of our frequently asked questions.
Absolutely. Thank you, Victoria. So I'll start with the first frequently asked question that many of us receive. And this is, if I receive an admissions offer from my chosen university, does that mean that I'm accepted directly into my chosen major? This is a big question from transfer students. Admissions to the community college can be very different from admissions to a 4-year university. Many universities offer transfer students general admissions, but then there are additional requirements or an additional application process to be admitted or declared directly into a major. I would encourage you to reach out to the admissions transfer counselor at your chosen institution to find out if it is indeed a second application process or if there are prerequisites that are required to declare that major. Many times those prerequisites can be completed when you complete your associate's degree for a smooth transfer. Just to give you one example, at UNCW, our nursing program is highly competitive. It requires 2 separate applications with 2 too hard deadlines, but our marine biology program only requires particular prerequisites in math and science for a student to declare their major. The next question that we get a lot is, can I find out how many transfer students are at my chosen institution? This is a great question to ask, and it's really an important factor for a lot of transfer students. The number or percentage of incoming transfer students to a given institution can help a prospective transfer to really understand if the culture for transfer is present at that institution. You can generally find this answer on the admissions website, but like my colleagues have said throughout this panel, if you can't find those answers, don't be afraid to reach out to that admissions transfer counselor, and it starts those great questions about the clubs and organizations that might benefit transfer students or non-traditional students as well. And I'm going to pass it off to my colleague, Lily.
Thanks so much. Okay, so the next frequently asked question is, I've completed my associate's degree, but received some C's and D's. Do all universities transfer any grades above an F? So university transfer policies differ by institution. So some institutions will not accept the course with a grade of a C- or below, while some accept any grade of a C. So this is really important information to know before you choose to transfer, and definitely reach out to your academic, I can't even think right now, admissions counselor, and make sure that you speak with them about this, because you want to make sure before you start the transfer process that you know, you won't need to be retaking any courses or anything like that at your community college before you transfer.
And I can take the next question. The burning question, how long will it take for me to complete my degree? That's like the number one question, and a great question. And unfortunately, I don't have an easy answer for you, because that's going to depend on a lot of factors, such as if you have any transfer credits coming in, how many of those credits will come in that will be able to apply towards your degree program. It kind of goes back to the previous question that Lily just answered regarding whether or not the college of your choice will accept a C or D. I know here at Excelsior, you have to have all C's. We don't accept any D's. So those will be factors that will kind of determine how long that process will take you, as well as if you plan on going through all the semesters that are offered, meaning if you're going to go fall, fall, spring, summer term. If you take a break, obviously that's going to kind of extend your stay. So there's no easy answer to this question. It all kind of just depends on you and how quickly you can kind of make sure you get that application submitted, get your transcripts in, get everything reviewed. And if you're staying the course with going to classes every semester that they're offered. And the second one, I think we also have that one, how much will it cost? Ties right back into how many credits you're going to be able to transfer in. All universities and colleges, all of us, we all have different fees and prices. There's going to be partnership rates for all of us. So the best answer to give you all for that question is to get with your school of choice. And I'm sure you can pull up on their website, their financial aid office, or on their admissions process page, and the fees and applications will be up there for you. And if you have a more specific question, then definitely get with an advisor or someone in a financial aid office. Oh, I'm sorry. I think I had the next one too. Do I have to have all of my transcripts? Yes, you do. So if you put everything down, then you're going to need to have all of those transcripts. I've worked with students that say, you know, I haven't taken a class in 20 years. The school is shut down. How am I going to get those transcripts? I know that's extremely frustrating, but we can find a way to make sure that you get those transcripts in. So keep in mind that if you put down that you attended 10 different schools, then we're going to need all 10 different transcripts so that they can be reviewed.
I have the next question, and I hear this a lot is, I want to come here, but I'm not going to come if I have to take out loans. And it's great if you can find that situation, but unfortunately it's pretty rare. And that's because there are federal awarding guidelines. And so most schools follow those and then mix their own scholarships and and money that they can give out. But your financial aid package is like a bucket that you're going to fill up. And it might take lots of different sources to fill that bucket up. But again, this is why the FAFSA is so important, because there's so many places that could come from. So with, you may get a merit award based on your scores and your GPAs, and that would go in the bucket, or you may have some other scholarships that you've gotten from your school outside your community. And that just kind of keeps filling up the bucket. But you most likely are going to have to take out some loans. And that is because it's not just of the schools being greedy. They are investing money in you. The federal government is investing money in your education, the state government, and they want you to have a buy-in to your degree. So that is another way to look at loans, is that you've got so many other things going into the bucket, and you're usually expected to add a little bit to the bucket yourself.
Right, I did want to answer one question from the chat before I go on to my facts. So we have a student that has questions about if they would still be eligible for transfer, even if they do have some of those grades that are below the grade that's acceptable to be transferred. So I can answer first based on my institution, and I'm pretty sure it's similar at all of our institutions. Usually what we're looking for is your overall GPA. We're not going to look individually at every single class and be like, oh, you made a D in math. You know, there's no way. That's not going to fly with us. As we mentioned, it may not transfer. So you may have to retake that class at our institution, but you would still be eligible for admission. We would be looking at the overall GPA and your overall academic performance.
And the same would go for Excelsior. You know, we're not going to say you got a D and you can't come and transfer to us. We're going to look at all your other coursework that you've completed, and you'll get credit for that. So it does not stop you from being able to transfer.
And it's similar for UNCW. As long as the credit hours didn't drop below 24, we do require that a student have 24 credit hours, but we're going to look at your cumulative GPA, even though we wouldn't transfer the class that you got a D in. As long as your cumulative GPA met our admission standards, then you could be admitted.
All right.
And our policy is the same at ETSU. So we're just looking at that GPA. You just have to have 12 credit hours to be considered a transfer student. The only thing is, like, say if you're interested in our nursing school and it's a D in anatomy and physiology and our nursing program requires a C or better, then you would have to retake the course. But as far as admissions purposes, you would be fine.
And it is the same for us. We call transfer students anybody who's post high school. So you may even have 2 or 3 credits, and we'll look at that. But it's, again, the same. If we take C and above.
All right, and I'm just gonna, let's see, let's answer this next question in the chat, actually, before going to the facts. If I graduate from my school in May, when should I apply for ODU? Okay, well, so if you graduate in May, I would still recommend applying now. We recommend applying by March 15th, so no later than March 15th. We accept on a rolling basis, so we will accept your application after that date. However, applying by March 15th puts you in the best position to be admitted before registration opens. And you'll send us an official transcript that's considered in progress, and then you'll have to send an updated official transcript once you finish at your current institution, just so we can award you any applicable credit that you took in the spring semester and post any degrees if you received any degrees. And I'm going to do my best to get to these facts in this last minute. Are there benefits to transferring with an associate's degree? At least with schools in Virginia, a lot of us have guaranteed admission agreements with schools, with the Virginia community colleges. So if you receive an associate's degree, you would be able to qualify for that guaranteed admission. And you know, kudos for you anyway, having it on your resume. That's the benefit for you of having that educational experience on your resume before you actually transfer and receive a bachelor's. And then what is a letter of intent? Letter of intent basically lets us know what program you're planning to pursue and locks you into the current cataloged year and lets us know that you are applying under that guaranteed admission agreement if you're coming from a Virginia community college to many of the different Virginia in-state schools.
We have one more question in the chat.
If you had failed in a class or two, but were able to take those classes again to get a better grade, is that okay? I know for us, yes, that's okay. We would look at the most recent grade and post that.
Same here for Excelsior.
And this
Same here.
UNCW, it's replaced.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you everyone for participating in the session today. Again, this session was going over tools for transferring, streamlining your transfer admissions process. After you exit, there will be a quick survey. It's just going to be 4 questions, so do please complete that. That's going to give us a lot of feedback as well as helping our panelists either perfect their presentation or add a few things to it. So do complete that survey. Also sign up for some more sessions. So again, you can access all of this at www.strivescan.com/Virginia to access all the other sessions that will be happening today as well as throughout the rest of the week. And again, this recording will be available about a week from today. So on Monday, go back to that website again, www.strivescan.com/Virginia, and you'll be able to review all of the great information from our panelists. Thanks so much and have a great rest of your week. Happy Monday.